Hey there, and welcome back to the Simple AI Guide, where we take the complicated world of artificial intelligence and explain it in plain English. My name is Hope. Today we are discussing something that I know a lot of you are dealing with. You want to read a good book, but you just cannot figure out what to pick next. Maybe you have a shelf full of options and you keep staring at it, not sure where to start. Maybe your want to read list has grown so long it stopped feeling helpful. Or maybe you finished something you absolutely loved and now nothing else seems good enough by comparison. Whatever the situation, you feel stuck, and that feeling is more common than you might think. Here's the good news. Artificial intelligence has gotten remarkably good at helping with exactly this problem. Not in a gimmicky, tech hype kind of way, but in a genuinely useful, let me actually help you way. Today we are going to walk through how AI book recommendations work, which tools do it best, and, most importantly, how to talk to these tools in a way that gets you results you will actually love. No technical experience required. If you can send a text message, you can do this. Let me start with something that might surprise you. The old way of finding a book recommendation, the bestseller list, the customers also bought carousel on Amazon, even the Goodreads algorithm. All of these have the same fundamental flaw. They are built around popularity, not around you. If you loved a quiet literary novel set in small-town Ohio in the 1950s, those systems were not going to find you a perfect, slightly obscure companion book. Instead, they handed you last month's #1 New York Times bestseller, which might have had nothing to do with your taste at all. AI changes this in a really meaningful way. Large language models like ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini have been trained on enormous amounts of text about literature. And I do not just mean book titles and star ratings. I mean actual literary criticism, author interviews, thousands of reader discussions about why certain books worked and others did not. These tools understand the mood, the pacing, the themes, the narrative style, and the emotional texture of a huge range of titles. So when you give AI rich, specific information about what you are looking for, it can reason its way to something that genuinely fits your taste, not just something that sold well last quarter. The market for AI-powered reading tools has grown rapidly. Analysts tracking this space have noted growth from around $1.25 billion in 2024 to a projected $2.5 billion in 2026. That is not hype. That is millions of readers discovering that AI actually helps them find books they love. Now, before we get into the tools, I want to explain something about how these systems actually work, because understanding this will make you much better at using them. There are basically three approaches you will encounter. The first is called collaborative filtering. This is the classic approach behind platforms like Goodreads and early Amazon recommendations. The system looks at what other readers who like the same books as you also enjoyed. If you and 10,000 other readers all loved a certain book, it recommends what those readers read next. This works reasonably well for popular books, but it struggles with niche tastes and can lock you into familiar territory. The second approach is mood-based, or semantic matching. This is where things get more interesting. Some platforms let readers describe books using mood tags, words like dark, funny, hopeful, slow burn, plot-driven, and dozens of others. The AI then matches your mood to books that consistently earn those same tags from readers. This can surface titles you would never find on a bestseller list. The third approach, and this is where ChatGPT, Claude, and similar tools come in, is large language model reasoning. These AI systems have processed vast amounts of text about literature, and unlike a simple filtering algorithm, they can understand the actual meaning of what you are describing. When you tell a language model that you love books with an introspective narrator, a rural setting, and quiet emotional tension, it understands what that means. It can reason about which books share those qualities, even books that have never been directly compared to each other. That is a genuinely different kind of intelligence than people who like this also like that. And it is why, when you give these tools enough specific information, the results can feel surprisingly personal. All right, let us talk about the actual tools you can use right now. First up, ChatGPT from OpenAI. This remains one of the most popular options, and for good reason. The free version now includes access to GPT-4o, and the conversational format makes it easy to go back and forth. You can start broad and then narrow down. Something like, I want something like this book I loved, but less fantasy and more grounded in real life. And the AI adjusts with each response. The key is not to ask generic questions. Readers who have tested this have found that when they ask for books based on multiple favorites and specific genres, the results improve significantly over a simple one-book prompt. One thing to keep in mind, always double-check that the books ChatGPT recommends actually exist. AI can occasionally invent a book title or author that sounds plausible but is not real. A quick search takes 5 seconds. Next, Claude from Anthropic. Claude has earned a reputation for nuanced, thoughtful conversation, and that quality extends to book recommendations. Claude is particularly good at explaining why it is recommending something, not just "you might like this," but this shares the introspective narrator, rural setting, and quiet emotional tension you described. That reasoning helps you decide whether a recommendation is actually worth pursuing. Claude can also hold a lot of context at once, which means you can give it a detailed reading history and it will keep all of that in mind while generating suggestions. Third option, Perplexity AI. This is a powerful choice for readers who want recommendations backed by current information. Unlike ChatGPT or Claude, which work primarily from their training data, Perplexity searches the live web in real time and cites its sources. This is especially useful if you want to find books published in the last year or two, read current critical perspectives, or discover what literary communities are talking about right now. Several readers who have tested it describe the experience as having a trustworthy librarian who also happens to be connected to the entire internet. Fourth, the StoryGraph. This is a dedicated book tracking and recommendation app, and it has become the go-to Goodreads alternative for a lot of serious readers. The StoryGraph was founded by Nadia Odunayo, a British-Nigerian tech entrepreneur who wanted to build a reading platform that puts the reader first, not advertisers or publishing buzz cycles. Its recommendation engine uses mood tags, pacing descriptors, and community sentiment to surface books that match how you are feeling right now, not just what you have read before. The platform is also ad-free and privacy-conscious. With around 4 million users as of 2026, it is a smaller but more curated community than Goodreads. Fifth, Redo. This is a specialized AI tool built entirely around book discovery. You type in titles you have enjoyed, and the AI searches across more than 1 million books to find recommendations. It is lower friction than crafting a detailed prompt for ChatGPT, a great starting point if you are brand new to AI book discovery. And sixth, Quillbot's AI reading generator. This is a free tool worth knowing about if you want quick, organized suggestions. You describe your mood, genre preferences, or a theme you're interested in. Something like inspiring true stories about women in science or cozy mysteries set in small English villages. And the tool generates a curated reading list with brief summaries for each title. Great for readers who want a structured list rather than a back-and-forth conversation. Now, here's the part I really want you to pay attention to, because this is where most people go wrong. The quality of what you get from AI depends almost entirely on the quality of what you put in. If you ask, "Recommend me a good book," you're going to get Dune or The Great Gatsby. You do not need AI for that. But if you give the AI rich, specific information, you unlock something genuinely tailored to you. Think of AI like a literary matchmaker. And like any matchmaker, the more it knows about you, the better the match. So instead of just listing books you have enjoyed, try describing the attributes of those books, the pacing, the emotional tone, the kind of protagonist you prefer, whether you like plot-driven or character-driven stories. Let me give you some actual prompt templates you can use right now. You may also want to reference the full article at AI4everyone.ai when you are creating your prompts. The first one I call the attribute prompt. It goes something like this. I love this book and this other book. Here is specifically what I liked. Fast-paced problem solving, a competent protagonist who uses humor, and a setting with detailed atmosphere. Please recommend 5 books that share these specific qualities, not just the same genre. Notice that you are telling the AI not just what books you liked, but why you liked them. That why is the key. The second one is the mood prompt. This one sounds like, I want a book that feels like a quiet Sunday afternoon. Something introspective, a little melancholy, but ultimately hopeful. Probably literary fiction, probably under 350 pages. I have 2 weeks to read it. What do you suggest? You are describing an experience you want to have, not just a genre. That gives the AI a lot to work with. The third is what I call the anti-prompt, and this one is underrated. It sounds like, I am looking for a mystery novel. I love atmospheric settings and flawed female protagonists, But please avoid graphic violence, unreliable narrators, and anything set in a hospital. Based on my love of these two books, what fits? Negative constraints are surprisingly powerful. The AI will use your exclusions just as actively as your inclusions. The fourth is the reading history prompt, and this one is especially powerful. Here is how it works. Here are the last 10 books I have read and how I would rate my enjoyment on a scale of 1 to 5. Then you list them. Then you ask, based on what I gave 4 and 5 stars and what bored me at 2 and 3 stars, what patterns do you see in my taste, and what should I read next? This is extraordinary because you are asking the AI not just to recommend, but to analyze your taste and explain the underlying pattern. The insight can be eye-opening even before you get to the actual recommendations. Here is a pro tip that goes with this last prompt. Goodreads allows you to export your full reading history as a CSV file. That is a spreadsheet you can download. You can paste that list directly into ChatGPT or Claude and ask the AI to analyze your reading patterns and generate personalized recommendations based on your actual data, not your memory of what you have read, not a vague description. Your real data. That is a level of personalization that was not possible just a few years ago. Let me spend a minute on the Goodreads versus StoryGraph question, because this comes up a lot. Goodreads has been the dominant book tracking platform for over a decade. Most readers have been using it for years. The community is massive, over 150 million users, and your reading history is stored there. Those are real advantages. But the downside is that Goodreads has barely changed since Amazon acquired it. Its recommendation algorithm is based primarily on popularity and collaborative filtering. It tends to surface bestsellers and books similar to what is already popular, rather than hidden gems tailored to your actual taste. The StoryGraph takes a different approach. Its onboarding asks nuanced questions, not just what genres do you like, but what turns you off a book. That negative preference data turns out to be just as valuable as positive preferences for generating good suggestions. The platform is also ad-free and lets you migrate your entire Goodreads library seamlessly. For most readers who care about quality AI recommendations over social features, surveys suggest that StoryGraph's mood-based engine provides more personalized results than Goodreads' popularity-based algorithm. Around 78% of users who switched from Goodreads to StoryGraph cited better, more personalized recommendations as the primary reason for making the move. Before we wrap up, I want to share a few principles that will make you genuinely better at using any of these tools. Number 1, be specific about what you love and why. Do not just list book titles. Describe what you loved about them: the narrative voice, the setting, the emotional journey, the pacing. Number 2, tell the AI what you do not want. If you hate cliffhanger endings, find horror disturbing, or get bored by overly long fantasy world building, say so. These exclusions matter. Number 3, ask for explanations. Ask the AI to explain why it is recommending each book. If its reasoning resonates with you, that is a good sign. If it misunderstood something, you can correct it in the next message and get better results. Number 4, use multiple tools. There is no rule that says you have to pick just one. Many readers use StoryGraph for ongoing tracking, ChatGPT or Claude for a specific mood-based recommendation session, and Perplexity when they want to find recently published titles. Number 5, verify before you commit. Always do a quick search to confirm that a recommended book actually exists before you buy it or add it to your list. Takes 5 seconds, saves disappointment. And number 6, rate and tag your reading on whatever platform you use. The more data these systems have, detailed ratings, mood tags, pacing notes, the smarter they become over time. Think of it as training your personal literary AI. Let me close with something I find genuinely exciting about all of this. For a long time, great book recommendations required knowing the right person: a brilliant librarian, a well-read friend, a lit professor who happened to share your taste. Not everyone had access to that. AI does not replace the human recommendation. A good librarian still brings intuition and local knowledge that is irreplaceable. But AI makes personalized book discovery available to anyone, at any hour of the day, regardless of where they live or who they know. For retirees with time to read and a lifetime of taste to draw from. For busy small business owners who can only manage 30 minutes before bed and want to make sure it counts. For anyone who has ever stared at a shelf full of books and felt completely stuck. The tools are there. They are free or low cost, and they are better at this than most people realize. If you want the full written guide with all the tool comparisons and step-by-step instructions, head over to AI4everyone.ai. The link will be in the show notes. And while you are there, subscribe to our free newsletter. Every week we cover one AI topic in plain English. No jargon, no hype, just practical stuff you can actually use. This episode was written by humans and AI. It was read by an AI voice. Thanks for listening to the Simple AI Guide. Join me for the next episode.